Hey guys, and welcome to Marketwatch episode 11. This is the 11th episode of a series where we go through the Grand Exchange, talk about the biggest rises and falls of the week, along with any big updates of the following week, and see what we can do in terms of money making, flipping, or investing. Now, thank you guys for the support over the past couple of episodes. Obviously, Necromancy has had the biggest effect on the market, and we've done quite a few episodes going over the price falls and big issues relating to it. So in terms of this episode, in terms of updates, nothing major really. It's just tweaks and improvements they've made to the skill. Again, anything they're really doing in terms of an update or a change, especially to Necromancy, is just little things to improve the general user experience more than anything. Nothing too major in terms of flipping the market massively. But we're another week into Necromancy. I believe it's 3 weeks on Monday since the skill's been released. High scores are starting to flood out, people doing 200 mil now. People are starting to shift out of the Necromancy skill and move into utilising it in PVM. So that will have an effect on the market. Not only that, since Jagex amended the prices for the Necromancy items, which again, they did a great job at. I just wish they did it on other updates. They have started to hit the point now where they're going to fall. Now, yesterday I did a video talking through Necromancy and if it still makes money in terms of the Necroplasm, candles, inks, and other stuff. If you haven't seen it, it has been linked in the corner of this episode, and if you look at my channel, it was the previous episode I have uploaded on my channel page. But anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get through the price rises and the price falls. So, let's get going. So, the Running Scared Override, again, cosmetic, has come through in one of the promotions. Very limited supply, and especially if it's a good looking one, or it's one people are after, it will continue to go up. What it will go up to, I don't know, because cosmetics, who even knows anymore? So, yeah. Garden Pie is linked to one of Keely's tasks, so that is why that's gone up. The pies were a great chance to get in and do a little bit of profit with cooking. So if you did do that, very well done to you. I just didn't have the patience to collect all the ingredients. But if you did it, I hope you made quite a lot of profits because I definitely spent 200k for a garden pie. I am your market, so well done. Blue blubber jellyfish is actually very good fishing at the minute because these are very much in demand. Due to how Raisal is as a boss, anything which prevents adrenaline reduction is greatly in demand. So your blue blubber jellyfish, your Sara brews, your Guffix rests are the major source of food for these kind of boss fights, so they are going up quite heavily. So again, really good item to go and fish if you want to do AFK or if you want to do anything like that. Gloves of Subjugation, these 3 pieces will be going through the roof for the next week or two. Now, when I price checked a couple of days ago, these are still around the 20 mil mark, and the reason because of that is the garb and the gown give the same amount of cloth as these 3 items. The cloth is very in demand in something which is what people are after, so the price will remain high. But these 3 items will give the same amount as the other pieces. So people have gone to these to buy them because they were cheaper. The prices rose up since, so they are now all on the same sort of level. If you have a medium sort of level account, or if you're quite new to PVM, now is the best time to do the Zamorak boss log and get yourself a nice looking boss pet, while making a small fortune with these items. Zami and also another God Wars boss, which I think we'll see further down, are very much worthwhile doing now, and will be a great way to make some money. Mystic Cloth, again, similar to the subjugation pieces, that is linked to the armours. So all the armours for the stage before subjugation use Mystic, so here, this is why Mystic is here. And by using the cloth, you're able to get some crafting XP and make some profit while making some Mystic sets. These are very niche, and if you do have Anakus in your dungeon, these drop from Anakus, so it'd be a good way to make a little bit of profit. Pure Essence. So Pure Essence is pretty much the best method to train Necromancy once you're just going for the XP grind. Once you've done the souls, turning Pure Essence into the Impure Essence is the best way to get XP. So Pure Essence is on its way up. So who would have had Pure Essence in the 300s on their list for this year? Definitely not me. So yeah, not much you can say to that. That will keep going up while there is still demand. It is taking a massive chunk of Pure Essence out of the game, which kind of needed to happen anyway. But even things like your Abyssal Demons task now, because they're a pretty big drop of Pure Essence, you could rack up a mil just from an Abyssal Demon task just by getting Pure Essence, which is mental. It just is mental. Marintils are going to be high because they're used in Guffix Rest potions, and not only that, they're used in the Super Necromancy potion, which is just here. Saradomin Brew Flasks, like the jellyfish earlier on, they don't lose adrenaline when being eaten. And in terms of the new final boss, this is the best sort of food to use, and that is why that is going up. These are very fluctuating though. I have managed to sell some previously for 60k, so if you are looking at doing it, please check the prices, please check your margins just to make sure you do not lose out on profit. I believe you'll still make money, but it's just making sure that you don't lose out on profit at all. Cadaver berries are used in Super Necromancy and very low volume because it's an item no one really uses, so that will go up. Similar to the foot wraps, the hand wraps for the first Necromancer set is going up. That seems to be the more desired item out of the two in terms of the armour and the weapons. The weapons are on the decrease, whereas the armour seems to be very much on the increase. So it seems at the minute that the armour is very much more in demand. Hellfire Metal is for binding contracts. Binding contracts have now gone through the roof again, so they are very much at the high in demand. Manuscript of Jazz, because the Jazz book is the king at the minute, so that has gone up. Same with the Scripture of Jazz, that has gone up because it's basically the best one to be using at the minute. Me personally, I bought a Book of Wen about a year ago. I will continue to use the Book of Wen. If I lose a bit of DPS, so be it. It saves me just spending money on another book, which I probably won't use after Necromancy. Nature Runes going up just because there will be a form of demand for Nature Runes, just Alks or something like that. Aggression Potion, people need them to train. That has gone up. Guthix Rest Potions, especially in the flasks, have gone high. I did a video on this last week, went down really well. These will be in demand just due to the kind of combat Necromancy is, and the fact that people will need these kind of potions to make sure that they're able to do the kind of combat with Necromancy. Duration Insignia, again, we've seen archaeology items before. They're just so up and down. It just depends what day it is sometimes. Whatever reason, that's needed. Although the large crates for vintage components is up, which is nice. Again, if you have any surplus of artifacts in your bank, disassemble them, turn them into crates, and then sell them on a GE, because you've probably got quite a lot of money in artifacts you're not going to use in your bank. And not only will it give you some bank space, it will give you like some decent GP as well, so definitely do it. Spirit Weed is using a Necromancy potion, that's why that's gone high. Green Blubber Jellyfish, similar to the blue ones up, again, doesn't lose adrenaline. Armadillo Boots is going to be the other God Wars boss, which is going to spike. Again, this is down to people wanting to use Precise for their weapons. Again, need Armadillo components. Armadillo components will go high because of it. Necromancy potions, because they're just new to the game and stuff like that. Small crate, again, for more classic components. Berserker Ring, the Reaver's Ring is the best ring for doing Necromancy. Because you can't get an offensive ring, better to go for the sort of balanced down the middle ring, so that's why that's going up. Binding contracts, Hellhounds are going up. Again, all the sort of Calgarians, Reavers, Hellhounds, very high price at the minute. Very worth doing if you've got them. Very worth doing if you've got them for a Slayer task. You're going to be making a small fortune if you're picking up things like this for a Slayer task. Aggression Flasks, again, same with the potions. It's because how people want to train. Manuscriptures of Wen, 500k. Again, the kind of market we're in at the minute, it is mental. This makes the Archglacier, again, a very viable, profitable training boss. On the no mechanics, you can get a couple like pages of Wen per hour, and you can quite easily go over 5, 6, 7 mil an hour just by FKing. Not only that, for a brand new account, the amount of charms you'll be getting as a result will be pretty mad. Sailfish, 3k an hour, don't do these, do Blubber Jellyfish. Hand Cannon, Crackling components, that's gone up. Armadillo components, now Chain Skirt at 15 mil. Helmet 6.8. Again, like if you've not done the armor pet log, now is a very good time to be looking at doing it. And while you're at it, train Necromancy with it. Kill the boss with Necromancy. I don't think you'll struggle. A very viable option to do as well while completing a pet. Brews, again, demand on the flasks. That's why they've gone up. Binding contracts, Ripper Demons, and the Blood Reavers, very high. There's a video coming out on the weekend about binding contracts, how to make contracts quick, and also like for sheer profit, which is in binding contracts at a minute, because again, if you've got these sort of things for a task, cash in wise there, because these money makers won't be here forever, so now is the time to do it. Raw Blubber Jellyfish, again, you could probably make money like cooking them, which what kind of world are we in when cooking makes like significant money? And then finally, Blood Runes back over 1,000, which is nice. Robe and Subjugation for a set is 80 mil, which is mental, but it's actually more 100 mil if you was to check prices. Armadillo Chestplate, 15 mil is very nice, and a Scripture of Wen, which is 150. Again, we're trying to shift, we've sort of shifted now from the skilling resources for Necromancy to the combat related stuff. There's a lot of boss related items there. There's a lot of resources for Herblore, the binding contracts, armor, potions, setups, training. This is very much all aimed towards training Necromancy in a combat sense, rather than a skilling sense, which we've been here. So now we're going to go to price falls, and this is basically going to be a minor Necromancy bloodbath, which we are going to go through very quickly, especially for the Necromancy items, because we went through it In the video yesterday, again, watch it because I'll talk through all these prices. The mementos have gone down quite sharpish. Bit of advice because I needed it the other day. If you've not done your souls yet, buy the mementos. Do it with multipliers and you will do it so much quicker than bones. A powerful memento for 50k is cheaper than a rune dragon bone and will get you like half as many extra souls. So do that rather than do bones. Again, all of these items we talked about in the video yesterday, but anything to do with necromancy and these items here, price check before you buy it and then you can probably save yourself a nice big chunk of money. I would more often than not slow buy. I would find like the lowest buy price and then buy it there and then go and do something else while it waits and buys. However, first big item, Soulbound Lantern, dropped to 525 mil. A bit weird because it was such a sharp like drop after it sort of rose up a bit, but I think people realised that the benefit and the impact of the armours greatly outweighed your weapons. And not only that, once like a tier 90 set is perked, you'll be able to do like very much enough damage. And the thing with Necromancy is, it's kind of a balance between you and your minions. Because the armour sort of powers up the minions and sort of makes them better there, it kind of outweighed it. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on as well. For me personally, I'm a bit tempted by the Soulbound Lantern. And the Omni Guard, I'll be keeping very much an eye on. If this was to go around 500 mil, I'm picking the set up. Because really what you need to remember as well, this is tier 95. Like, a tier 95 duo set for 1 bill is a bit of a steal really. And especially like because of the clips you've seen of Necromancy and like the damage output and stuff like that, that is very cheap DPS for like the price it is. So me personally, if that for the set gets towards a bill or probably 1.1 bill, I'm picking it up and I'll look at picking up the greater necro armor, which again I think is quite cheap for the price. Like for a full maxed out range setup, you're looking like 3.5 bill. For magic, you're probably looking more like 2.5, 3 bill. I think for a necromancy set, you could be kitted out for under like 2 bill. If you were a bit clever with the prices you bought for. But again, it's just playing out. These are coming through very common as well. I wonder if we can see how many have been sold. Yeah, I mean like every day they are coming into the game, and when you're playing you can see like the world feed drops of when people get them. It's very common to see like drops every like 10-15 minutes. Maybe even less than that, maybe even like 5 minutes. Like you'll see it spam quite a lot. But yeah, so Necroplasm candles, we spoke in the video yesterday. This is where we'll start seeing the bones and the items which were sort of like built up beforehand, like start to crash. Because the amount of bones was greatly exaggerated on what you're going to need. And again, this is something I was saying when it was first released and the item list was released. Don't buy into the hype. Like, sometimes you're better off to have a little bit to cover. I spent 300 mil, which I thought was enough to like get me to level 70. Turns out it's enough to get me to 120, and I've probably got 250 mil of what I've bought left over, but it's probably now worth 150 mil. But again, you take the risks and that's what can happen. So at some point now, I've got to get rid of all those bones. They're still sat in my focus, and don't get me wrong, I really do need to sell them, and that's something for me. But again, like necromancy items, Gremwall spikes and the potato cactus are not necromancy items. They are herblore items. So these Gremwall spikes getting to the point now where I'd start looking at picking them up. I'd be putting in low ball offers something of like 1.2k and then hold on to them until the next bonus XP weekend, and then they will probably sort of like go ballistic again. Now don't get me wrong, I do not think overloads will ever hit the hype or price they did before. The money you make with supers, you made with the extremes, I don't think that'll ever happen again. The fact that Necromancy, when it was the last chance for people to make overloads without having to use a Necromancy potion, drove people to do overloads then, so I don't think we'll ever get that kind of market again. But if they're cheap, they'll always be used for a bonus XP weekend anyway. Going down, more of the same, more bones, more herbs related to overloads or extreme sets. Here are some extreme sets here, super sets as well. Anti-fires have gone cheap. Super prayer renewals, again, really spiked. But these potions always spike anyway. However, that was a pretty mad climb anyway. To top it, just under 60k is very high. Super anti-fires, they've finally gone down. They were a great money-making method to go and do the Phoenix for. If you did see my video and do it, well played. If not, it can still be there at points. Again, all the guides I make will still be viable at points. You just need to check prices. They're just more ideas and guidelines than rather do the methods here and then. Daggenoff Bones, this is something I am looking at and I'm thinking maybe we do a cheeky investment. I've done Daggenoff Bones before and they've actually worked quite well. The last one I did, they were more around 4 or 5k, 6.7, might be a little bit high, might be fine, but we'll have a look. And then the rest of the items, again, just more herblore related stuff, necromancy related stuff. The price falls is pretty much what you would all expect with the market. Apart from the weapons for the greater necromancer, it's pretty much what you would expect. So yeah, valuable items, again, we'll just have a bit of a quick look through. Nothing changing on the big boy stuff. The Bow of the Last Guardian, though, is still on its way down. That is now 2 bill. Obviously, this will still work its way down due to necromancy now being like an actual competitor for combat styles. So, considering this, like, in June was 3.7 bill, 2 bill now, in the space of 2 months, is quite a drop. Fractured Staff of Armadillo as well is now 1.8 bill, similar to the staff. I think the Armadillo staff will be slightly different because, like, looking here, I think it's found its floor. The tier 95 weapons will only go so far before, like, they are viable for that price, and I think 1.8 is a reasonable price for a Fractured Staff of Armadillo. And I think the bow around 2 billish, 1.8 billish might be where it settles quite well. Appraisal Codex 1.2 bill is just disgusting. Omni Guard, again, we've talked through that, 600 mil. Eldritch is on its way down. I don't know how the spell will affect this too much because Eldritch was always a viable EOF weapon, and now, like, Necromancy is given the spell which will do the same thing. Very curious to see how that will pan out. So, still wait to see there. Soulbound Lantern on its way down. The Leng set going down, 50 mil a piece. Again, it's pennies for tier 95, but it's on its way down. And then going through the rest, Seismic Wand on its way down again. Same with the Sez set. It's got something which outclasses it in terms of the necromancy gear. And again, for like the level of like necromancy gear for like level 90, even like the first necromancy stuff, it's very well priced at the minute. And obviously there's a huge chance it's an enchant for an investment and it will crash. But at the minute, looking at where we're at, it's got a good chance of doing well. So yeah, in terms of everything, no, that is the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed. This is Marketwatch episode 11. If you have, please leave me a like, please subscribe to the channel. We do this every week to talk through like viable money making methods, investment opportunities, and basically go over the whole Grand Exchange for the week. If you've got anything you want to see, any videos you'd like to watch, please drop me down a message in the comments, and I'll do my best to make sure that is released for you guys very soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have, please leave me a like, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.